Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to episode 38 of this Rockin' Cash Bar. How are you, Diane?
I am great. Ben, it's been 220 days since quarantine began for us, and my son went back to school in person today.
What?
Put him on the bus, and I had hours to myself.
I can't
wonderful.
believe it's been 220. Like the days have just been flying by now. It seems like it was 180, like way less than 40 days ago.
I
Are you
know.
feeling free though? Like what's it like
I
when you're
wanted to do cartwheels down my driveway the minute his little butt got on that bus. I was like, oh my gosh. And what I did is I had like all these list of all these things that I wanted to do, and I almost wore myself out by 9:30 a.m. Like I did all of it. I was like, I am tired. I need to calm down.
And I'm done. Time to crack a beer. Is
Yes.
9:30 in the morning too early to start drinking? No.
I thought about it.
I was watching, speaking of parenthood, I watched Inside Out, the Pixar movie, a couple of days ago.
Great movie.
And I think this is like I watched this Pixar movie and now I want to be a dad. That's not normal, is it? That can't be a good enough reason.
If you had watched it in your 20s, you probably hadn't got there. But are you 40? Are you
I'm 40,
almost? Yeah, like you're ready. Your brain is mentally ready, and you have enough experience now to be like, I can actually do this now.
I don't think my brain is mentally ready, but I'm just worried about like what would happen if when my child would look up and it's like where do babies come from? I'd be like, well, I got high and I watched a cartoon and decided I wanted to create a human brain. And you're it, kid. Don't fuck it up.
That movie is fantastic, and I'm so glad that you liked it. Like we talked about this earlier, but I had watched that movie with my son and didn't really understand the huge point of the movie until my therapist explained it to me, because it was like kind of a problem I was having with like our generation was told to suck in our sadness, don't cry, like choke, it was supposed to be like you were strong if you didn't cry, and this movie explains like that's the worst thing you can do, and you cannot reach happiness unless you go through sadness. And the way that it explains the function of the brain to a child, I was like, that's so helpful.
Yeah, they mapped out and diagrammed the whole human brain and the whole human emotions in a way that I've never seen explained to kids before. I've only ever seen that or like heard it, on podcasts or like reading self-help books or something like that are geared towards adults. To actually see it aimed at 6 and 7 year olds to explain like these emotions are normal. You don't need to worry about them. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's disgusted. Everybody's angry.
Yeah.
They're not. It's all a part of you. It was really nice. I was very, very moved. I think it kind of scared my girlfriend a little bit because she thought I was being sarcastic. But I was being just like crazy sincere. I was like, no, I really love this. Like, what's going to happen next? It's going to be really crazy when sadness has to prove her worth to joy. Don't you think? She's like, you're just being an asshole. Like, no, I love it.
I mean it.
Yeah, I'm into this. We've got a fun episode. I'm excited about our guest. I mean, I'm always excited about our guest, but this guest, I don't know how you feel about our guest, but I've always liked this guy. I want to introduce my high school phys ed dodgeball teammate, Mr. Corban Gallagher, Mr. Dianne Gallagher.
How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing good, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. I'm a little nervous. I don't do things like this. Huh?
Nah, I said no. It was good to see you. You're going to be fine. Don't worry about this.
Drink up.
This is easy.
Let's all cheers. So it just feels normal.
Salute, man.
Cheers, mates.
Yes.
Clink. We are doing Creedence Clearwater Revival today.
Yes, we are.
CCR. Corban, you're a big CCR fan, yeah?
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I am.
You are?
Yeah.
Where did you like? I mean, obviously they're a classic band that's been around our entire lives. Like, was it something that you latched onto as a kid? Where did you learn?
My
CCR?
dad plays guitar all the time, so it was either John Prine or like Fogerty songs, man, that he would just jam out, sing to us when we were kids and stuff, man. And it's just the basic CCR Chronicles album, the greatest hits, that was just what we heard all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember like a time where I didn't know CCR. They've just been bubbling around in the ether for the longest time. And there's a bunch of songs that I didn't know. Like I still insist that "Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress" is a Creedence Clearwater Revival song.
I think the Hollies, right?
Something like that. All I know is I was like 35 when somebody told me that it wasn't Creedence Clearwater Revival, and I absolutely I definitely whipped out the phone like, there's no fucking way.
Well, I mean, I knew about Creedence my whole life, and then like 10 years ago, I found out Fogerty was from San Francisco.
It's nuts.
And it blew my mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought they were by you guys all my life.
Coon ass from the swamp, like in Louisiana, you know?
He was in the swamp music genre. They wanted you to think that he was. That's what the genre he was playing to. It's amazing that he's not. I'm like, but you know.
It's a weird thing for a Northern California hippie guy to latch onto.
But you know what? I was watching this documentary today, and this guy was right, and he was like, the Rolling Stones tried to, you know, they wrote music about like being American blues. Like a lot of people do that. They write music for a genre they're not a part of, or they were not born into. You know, it's still weird though.
Jimmy Page stole a lot of stuff from the South to the American.
I thought you were gonna say from Tolkien.
No. You know, I had an argument with Max Gardner and Rob Mungle at LZ's one night about who was the best hard rock band. Hard rock band. And they were saying that it was Led Zeppelin. And I said it had to have been AC/DC because Led Zeppelin sung about Mordor and shit like that. And then AC/DC never sung a ballad. And the softest thing they ever said was, if you want blood, you got it. AC/DC is hands down the best hard rock band.
They've got the advantage of being Australian. The Australians are just rougher and tougher than us. It's a proven fact.
Yeah.
The fact that they don't do a ballad, not one ballad, where I was just like, well, I don't know, did Motorhead do a ballad? I mean, it's kind of like the...
I would love to have seen Lemmy sing a soft sweet song.
Torch song, Lemmy.
Like Mr. Big, just to be the next to be with you, but like with Lemmy singing.
That would be so funny.
Great.
But then the camera like pans back and he's just singing it to like a half full bottle of methamphetamine.
Yeah, he's got the speed needle like hanging out of his arm.
Just to be the next to be with you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so this week is a Patreon. We put up CCR, and I honestly thought Proud Mary was going to walk away with it, but it didn't. No. We're doing Heard It Through the Grapevine, which is not a John Fogerty written song. Obviously, it's a cover, but I mean, I can't find a recording of this song that I don't love, and I love them all for different reasons.
This is a disaster for several reasons. I didn't get the memo that Proud Mary didn't win. I totally prepared for Proud Mary.
Nice.
This is a great episode. Well, you know what?
Well,
let's talk about both.
I'd rather talk about like Fortunate Son or one of the other ones that they did.
I thought Fortunate Son was going to win for sure. Yeah. And you know, and since our Patreon is like what, half of it I think are my mom and dad. I think I don't mind saying, hey, forget it. We're not doing Heard You Through the Grapevine. We're doing Proud Mary, Mom.
Yeah, I know. I don't have the lyrics printed for Proud Mary. Do you just want to scrap Heard It Through the Grapevine and do Proud Mary? Hold on. Before we do that, I did write one thing that I wanted to say. Now it's not even going to be that funny. So I was going to open with, much like the woman in this song, the song itself is a bit of a whore, allowing herself to be passed around to many singers. And then I was like, just kidding. That's not very feminist of me. This song can do it at once. It can lay in the bed of whatever artist it wants, be it Smokey Robinson, the Isley Brothers, Marvin Gaye, Gladys Knight, and all the pimps, and all of the California Raisins.
Exactly. But I heard she did all the California Raisins all at once, or at least all in one night. I mean, she sleeps around.
Well, Patreon voters, if you want to hear Heard It Through the Grapevine, we'll do it another time, but we'll let make it a Marvin Gaye episode, because if you go on YouTube and watch his like performance singing this, and I don't know if it's one of those where they took the instruments out or if he did it live without instruments, but it will like make every hair you have stand up. It's so good.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
let's do that sometime soon. We'll do Marvin Gaye, Heard It Through the Grapevine. I'm sorry to throw you the curve for Proud Mary. Are you okay with it?
I'm okay with it. I don't have any research on it, nor do I have the lyrics printed out. But if you did enough research to float this, I'm ready to go.
I don't think you could do just Creedence Clearwater and do a cover song that they did. Creedence Clearwater is great on their own. You have to hit their catalog.
I agree.
Yeah. And they're kind of having a moment now because the president is using Fortunate Son at his rallies, and Fogerty has fired up the legal department.
To be fair, every Vietnam War movie has used Fortunate Son. Everybody has used Fortunate Son.
But no one's listened to it. Like John Fogerty's like, this is not for fucking you. It is like against, it's not against him, but I saw in the documentary today, he was talking about what he was inspired to do this because what was it, like LBJ's son was marrying Nixon's daughter or something like that, and he's like, you know, everybody else is getting drafted and to go into the draft, and he had to go, and there's like elite people up here just living their lives and doing things that they don't have to deal with, and he's like, I wasn't one of these senators' sons. I'm not one of these fortunate people. I actually had to go fucking fight. And then the song is about how they were treated when they were done.
Yeah, and the line some folks are born silver spoon in hand is literally Donald Trump.
I mean, I guess that's why they're using it, if they're thinking of it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's doing like the armchair psychologist thing with Donald Trump, but I think it bears saying that
beyond psychology, man. He's beyond analysis. He's just,
for sure. But I think part of the reason why, if he's the one insisting on using Fortunate Son, it must be like denial. Like he's like it's like a lady doth protest too much sort of thing.
It does have like a really great riff to open it up, man, and that might.
It really does.
Yeah. I see helicopters when I hear that riff. Like helicopters. Which movie is that? Platoon or Forrest Gump, where they're playing the song and you see that.
Yeah. It's a great opening. It's one of the great openings of any song. Yeah.
That song's amazing to me because I remember like during the run up to the Iraq War, that was, I mean, it was kind of an eye-opening experience for me because that was the first time I'd lived in a country that was making plans to go to war. And of course, there's all that, like the arguments around it, should we, shouldn't we, and all that stuff. And I remember like hearing Fortunate Son around that time. And of course, like the Dixie Chicks are in trouble for what they said about George Bush in London.
Right.
I remember like listening to Fortunate Son and going, there's absolutely no American band would get away with a song like this today.
And they did it on the Ed Sullivan Show, which is like crazy.
Kind of nuts to think about because it's like it's I mean it's crazy anthemic. Like it's a real corker. It's
his angriest song. Like he's mad when he's singing that.
I was graduating AIT in the Army, and we were in a field artillery unit that shot all these rockets and stuff like that. What was the name of the? I'm a cowboy on a steel horse.
I ride.
And they had this whole montage video of like all these rockets landing into like Iraqi towns and stuff like that from the first Gulf War and stuff like that. And they had the Bon Jovi montaged over the whole thing, and that was our graduation video for the Army, man. And it was kind of like, wow.
You're wanted, dead or alive.
Yeah. Wanted. Yeah.
All right, so since we're just like winging it now, we're gonna go through the lyrics of Proud Mary and think about Fogerty. I'll say real quick, you know how he didn't perform or play for a long time, and it was finally Bob Dylan who told him he had to, or else people were going to think Ike and Tina wrote Proud Mary. And he's like, you have to get out there and perform again, or people are going to forget you and forget that you wrote this song.
It was kind of, until I started doing research, it was kind of 50-50. Like when I thought that the Patreon voters had decided on Proud Mary, I looked it up and I didn't know. I was like, is that even a Fogerty song? I don't know for sure.
Right?
Can I make one small request?
What?
Of course.
When you read the lyrics, can you read them how John Fogerty said them?
You know what? I'll try. I'll certainly try.
Like when he the way he enunciates like burning and stuff like that.
Blinding.
I don't think there's any way that I could do it without at least falling into it. Left a good job in the city. I want to like New Orleans it up a bit. Left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day. And I never lost 1 minute of sleeping, worrying about the way things might have been. So he's a working class hero.
Blue collar guy.
Blue collar guy out of the Springsteen songbook.
Yep.
Big wheel keep on turning, proud Mary keep on burning. When I was a kid, like when I first heard this song, I mean, obviously I wasn't spending a whole lot of time paying attention to the lyrics, but it didn't occur to me until I started really looking at it that I mean, clearly he is talking, like he's literally, like Proud Mary is a riverboat.
Yeah.
I thought Proud Mary was a person.
I was like metaphor.
Yeah,
Right.
I thought this was a song about a waitress that he really admired.
It would have been funny when he says riverboat queen. You're like, I thought he was talking about some like drag queen at Harrah's or something.
Yeah, this song kind of has like a Bowie bent to it, like the Lou Reed version of this song. The riverboat queen from out. All right, never mind. Rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. I want to dance like Tina Turner as soon as I start saying that.
It's so hard not to just meld the two together.
I cleaned a lot of plates in Memphis, pumped a lot of pain down in New Orleans, but I never saw the good side of the city till I hitched a ride on the riverboat queen. So he's going gambling.
Gambling. Well, the good side of the city is from a distance, like a
when you get out of it.
a 10-foot rule, you know.
Yeah.
Have you ever been riverboat gambling?
I have many times. No. We went gambling in Lake Charles.
Yeah.
You know, we'd leave the last stop at 1:30 in the morning and go run out to Lake Charles. And
get the fuck out! Where did you find your energy?
Somehow we managed, and we would get out there.
It was youth, just being in the 20s.
Yeah. And we get out there,
youth and young love.
Yeah.
Were you with Rouse? Like
Odo most of the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I know Rouse would do that.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he? Isn't there a story about Rouse going to
a story about
that might be a Slade Ham story.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think he disappeared in Beaumont one night and then cropped up in Lake Charles.
Yeah,
which is a few hours east, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But if I remember the story right, like Sean Rouse woke up in a booth in a restaurant because he was kind of like sickly and crippled. So he'd been drunk and some caring person had just carried him and put him to bed. And then he woke up the next morning not knowing where he was or anything like that. Classic Rouse story.
Classic Rouse.
Good stuff.
It's always an eye-opener to wake up in Louisiana. Wake up on across state lines. Yeah.
If you come down to the river, bet you're going to find some people who live. You don't have to worry because you have no money. People on the river are happy to give. That one always struck me as like oh, it's the generous Cajun people, right? It's the boat people. But now that you think of it in the riverboat gambling terms, I think it's definitely much more like you don't have to worry. You don't have any money. You can always win it at the card tables.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I never seen anybody generous in a casino.
No, I mean the ATM is generous if you want to just keep asking it for money.
As long as you're putting quarters in the slots, they'll also keep giving you drinks, but that's about it.
The dummies giving it away. I've never been casino gambling because I have every other vice. There's no reason for me to go find out if I'm also a gambler.
It's not fun.
I suspect that I am. It's not?
No, it's not fun. Most of them are like all slot machines and stuff like that,
depressing.
Man. It's depressing, man. I see people show up there and they're still in their like overalls, and they're cashing their work checks.
Yeah.
You know, for chips and stuff. It's like, man, this isn't James Bond, like Monaco and stuff like that, man. This is
I'll say
sad.
this.
Yeah.
Neither one of us have been to Vegas, but you've been to Atlantic City. I've been to plenty of casinos in different places, and I have not ever walked into one and had a good feeling. I've been like, this is depressing. This is not fun. It's not festive. It's just sad people smoking cigarettes, like robotically pulling a slot thing or playing cards. You're not allowed to talk. And I was like, what is the appeal of this? And most people lose. I don't get it.
Yeah. It's either desperate people trying to make the quick buck, or it's just people who just have far too much money and they're just looking for a way to give it away.
Yeah.
I have to assume Vegas has a more festive environment when you're doing it. But I had a friend who went and was like, no, it's depressing. It's not. Go to the shows, go see all the fun stuff, but the casinos themselves are depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I wouldn't want to spend any time. I don't want to go to them. Ever. Never.
Okay. Let's keep
Shouting
going.
and screaming. Proud Mary was covered 3 times just in the 2 years after John Fogerty wrote it. Apparently, like Fogerty was in the army and he got his honorable discharge papers. Like he was expecting to get orders to be sent to Vietnam, and he didn't get them. Instead, he got his honorable discharge, and he couldn't have been happier. Apparently, he was doing like backflips in his front yard. He was married and had a kid at the time. And then he went and started strumming away at his guitar. And this is one of my favorite quotes as I was reading this. He based the riff for Proud Mary on Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. But then he says, quote, "I didn't like how Beethoven composed it." It's just the best thing I think I've read. It's like the best quote from any of these singer-songwriters. I didn't like the way Beethoven did it. I had a better idea.
That kind of sucks. I'm going to do it better.
He goes, "I preferred hitting the first chord hard for emphasis, not the fourth." Like, I'm just like, think this over. Ludwig van had no idea what he was talking about. So apparently he records this song with his band, and it's his brother and a guy named Stu Cook and another guy named Doug Clifford, right? And I read a review of. I like to go back and read like the Rolling Stone contemporary reviews of bands who are doing these things. And the first Rolling Stone review of Creedence Clearwater Revival absolutely savaged these guys. I mean, just like the writer wanted Creedence Clearwater to pack it up and go away. He said that the rhythm section was terrible, the drumming was unimaginative, the whole musical experiment is uninventive, and the only saving grace of this band is John Fogerty's occasional flashes of brilliance. Like the writer just I've never, because I've gone back and read a couple of classic Rolling Stone reviews now, and they always tend to see the brilliance or see what's going to be everlasting about this music. They didn't see it in Creedence Clearwater Revival at all. It's a cracking good read.
But Creedence was so different than everything else, man. I mean, nobody has that swampy, a lot of fans tried to recreate it and stuff like that, but Creedence had a completely unique sound.
They were doing classic rock before classic rock became classic rock. Like they said at the time, like there was a lot of experimental music going on. Like you had like the Grateful Dead and Alice Cooper doing weird shit, but they were just doing this swamp rock. And maybe Rolling Stone was like, no, we're not going this direction yet.
I wonder, because this was in like Northern California. This is San Francisco, Berkeley, like 1968. So this is the Grateful Dead. This is Jefferson Airplane, like all that, psychedelic kind of thing. So if you're doing like this swamp rock, this really sort of roots music in that scene, I wonder if they're just like, get the fuck out of here. Like you're looking backwards. We're trying to look ahead here.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they're like, what's this hillbilly swamp music? We're trying to get
live in the now, man.
I can't do LSD to this music. It doesn't send me anywhere.
When was the last time you did LSD?
High school. Once. I hated it.
No comment.
Yeah, Corban's gonna be like, Saturday. It happened. Oh, somebody told me, like, you guys are off on the ranch. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast before, but Corban, somebody was telling me that you found a gigantic magic mushroom on the ranch recently.
Yes.
So many.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah. It's a plethora of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've become an expert on picking them out because it's a nervous thing. If you eat the wrong mushroom, some of them can go very, very, very wrong in your system. One of them, what is it? It explodes your blood cells.
Yeah. It causes your blood cells to explode.
Yeah. So because we have these identifiers on our phone, we take pictures, and one was like, it will kill you immediately. And we're like, Jesus. But I've become an expert on picking out shrooms. Like I know what a shroom is now. Yeah.
Right. So this isn't like a shroom that we're like, this is a legitimate like poisonous Texas mushroom.
No, I can pick out the one that's fun and safe to do now.
Right. But the one that explodes your blood vessels is not like a die happy suicide mushroom.
No, it's a pretty miserable experience.
Yeah, it's bad.
Damn it. God, give me the happy suicide mushroom pills.
Oh God, you okay?
No, I'm doing fine. Fine. It's been a long pandemic.
It really has. Should we keep going with the song so we can just fuck off after this?
I think we should.
Through the lyrics.
We should. I was apparently when he recorded this song, he's recording it with his band that by and large everybody hates, including the writer for Rolling Stone. And he's not happy with the mix, with the way it's put together, specifically the background vocals. So he's recording it in his brother's garage, and he tells the band that he's going to overdub the vocals himself, and he's going to redo the guitar part also himself. And the band gets really upset with him. They have a great big fight. The band storms off to some restaurant to go eat and get drunk, and Fogerty sits in the garage and redubs the vocals and the guitar part. When the band comes back, spoiling for a fight, like, you motherfucker, how dare you start your own band? He just hits play, plays the song for them, and they all just shut up and just go, okay, yeah, no, I guess that's the way it should go. And then it was number 2 in the U.S. 3 months later, apparently.
That's kind of a lot of foreshadowing to what happens to CCR down the road.
It is.
Yep.
You know?
He was a massive control freak, but when you go back and understand why, it's because he knew how to do it right. He did everything, like all the way to like the mixing of it. He was kind of a genius. He knew what to do right. And we'll get to it later with what happened with the album Mardi Gras, where he's like, okay, everybody's sick of me being a control freak. You do this, you do this, you do this. And the only songs that were good on Mardi Gras were the ones he wrote and did himself.
Mm-hmm. So the song gets passed along, like it's been recorded. CCR has released it, and it's owned by this company called Fantasy Records. And Fantasy Records at the time is owned by this guy named Saul Zaentz. And Saul Zaentz went on to become a very famous movie producer. He won the Irving G. Thalberg Award at the 1996 Academy Awards, which is like, I'm a movie geek. So he won. Wow. He won 3 Best Picture Oscars. He produced One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Amadeus, and The English Patient, which I tried really, really hard to like when I was 16 or 17 years old. Oh my God, did I really want to like that movie? I read the book. I did everything I could to love that movie. It never took all the way.
Did you like the book?
No, I don't even really remember. I remember, I don't know if I read the book so much as I posed with the book. He's like sitting in coffee shops staring at it until somebody recognized what a smart young man I must be.
I didn't appreciate the film until I read the book RoboCop, and then opened my eyes. Peter Weller is a genius.
It's so weird when the movie's better than the book.
There's a great joke Sara told him. She said, I went to go see that movie, Dude, Where's My Car? And I just thought the book was so much better.
Oh my God, I feel like I have all her jokes memorized. I do not remember her doing that one. That's great.
I think it was just like a 1 week like cast off joke. It was hilarious.
That's great.
There's a great Fogerty quote where he's talking about songwriting, and it's really kind of, he says, you have to want it to the point of obsession, but then you have to work for it to the point of heartbreak, which is, I think, what you're talking about him being a control freak and being the driving force behind his band. Like he's just absolutely all consumed with this thing. Like, I can hear it in my head, I can see it with my eyes. If you guys can't see it, that's fine.
Yeah.
But we're gonna do this until it's perfect.
And in my personal life, and I think everybody gets annoyed with control freaks and micromanagers, but in this case, it's like, you want to go back in time and be like, guys, you just gotta let him, like, and they did, but like, you just gotta trust him. Like, he is the brilliance of this band.
Yeah, but it's got to be a weird like social moment, because he's not a genius to them. Like, he's just their brother or their bandmate, right? So if he's running around like expecting to be treated like a genius or expecting everybody else to recognize how brilliant he is, he hasn't proved it to anybody yet.
Right,
he's got to prove it to them first.
There's a chance that that CCR could have put out a disco record at some point if you listen to the bandmates, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people blasted Pink Floyd in the Wall, because the Wall actually had kind of that dun 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 dun. It had like a disco type of thing,
right.
And like Rolling Stone and all those people blasted Pink Floyd for it at the time because they said they were giving into disco. If Creedence gave up what he wanted to do, man, he wouldn't have produced as much good music as he did. You know, you have outside influences that want to inject their own thing to stay popular, to stay on point and stuff, and not change it. He knew what he was.
I kind I kind of marvel at the like the stick to your guns mentality that some of these guys have, because you know I'm kind of like the more like retiring type, you know, where I'm not gonna stand up for it. like Fogerty ends up going to war with his record company, with his bandmates. Like he's literally in lawsuits his entire life. Like really kind of, you know, like he's right now he's suing the president, right? But he went all the way to the Supreme Court fighting Saul, like to the Supreme Court fighting Saul Zaentz. Like at some point, like if it was me, I'd just be like, okay, fine, let's just come to a conclusion. Let's just get this settled.
You know,
I marvel at the mentality. It's like, no, we're going all the way to the death.
Mm-hmm.
I saw, you know, and I saw him at ACL, Austin City Limits Festival one year, and like a band called MGMT was playing, and the entire festival went over to go see that band play. It was
because they were new, they're very popular.
They had a bunch of hits and stuff like that, and I walked over, and John Fogerty started playing center field on this stage. There's probably about like 50 people there, something like that. I was like, holy shit, this is John Fogerty. And I just sat my ass down and started watching him. And he just went through the whole CCR catalog, man, his Blue Moon and all the John Fogerty stuff and everything like that, because he won his lawsuit, you know.
And he was allowed to play his
he was
hits.
allowed to play everything. So he just sat there, and me and like 50 old ladies and a handful of old dudes and stuff like that just kicked back and watched Fogerty play a private set for us, man.
Well, you know what he was probably thinking is like, this is just like Woodstock, because he went on at 3 a.m. after the Grateful Dead played for like 5,000 hours. He was supposed to be like going at night, and like the Grateful Dead just went on for so long. Like people were like, the only people like up listening to him by that time were like people like really high on speed. But they said like most, it was like a lot of like sleeping bags and people passed out when he finally went up. So that's why they don't have like footage of it, or didn't like make a big scene about their Woodstock performance, because it was just like, we've
goddamn Grateful Dead.
yeah, we performed way better than this.
They ruined so much shit. The Dead has ruined so much fucking shit.
I cannot get into the Dead at all. Like,
Nobody
I just
should.
can't. Like
I can't
even bands I don't like, I can usually go, okay, I see the appeal, but the Grateful Dead is just a mystery.
No, if you're into the Dead, you've had to like fucking shoehorn yourself into being into the Dead. There is no like just like casually getting into the Dead. You have to pretend to like the Dead.
Yeah.
Actually like it.
Have you ever tried like getting like stoned out of your mind and listening to the Dead and see if you can like get it? Yeah, I don't get it.
And Fish.
I have not taken it that far, no. Or Fish either.
No.
Yeah.
Jam bands in general. I also like we kind of grew up like in the heyday of the Dave Matthews Band, and that was just intolerable to me always.
Dave Matthews Band had the best looking audience I've ever seen in my life.
He says like hottest chicks
at Dave Matthews concerts. They all had those like crimped up little cowboy hats, you know, really short shorts and stuff. It was great. Rusted Root. I was into Rusted Root, and God, who was the other one? There was some other jam band, man. I remember seeing Carrot Top came out and played drums for him and shit like that. I can't. It was a weird fucking night, man. It might not have happened. I might have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carrot Top's on the drums.
Massive
Attack.
Massive Attack. Yeah, Rusted Root, Massive Attack, and Carrot Top.
I don't think this happened. I mean, maybe the two bands, but I don't think Carrot Top.
And
like,
you know what? That's going to make it even sound even more implausible, is that it happened in Disney World.
Okay, this didn't happen.
Yeah,
it did happen.
This isn't a concert. This is a fever dream.
Oh my God.
To the archives.
Did we even finish the lyrics for Proud Mary?
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah,
okay,
the lyrics are
pretty sure it happened.
Okay, so Corban already knows the answer to this. I'm going to see if I can quiz you. I'm going to give you 3 names that were contenders for the band's name before they decided on Creedence Clearwater Revival. 3 are real, and 1 is one that we made up. And I'm going to see if you can figure it out. I'm going to give you 4. Muddy Rabbit, Shlomo Brownbottom, Gossamer Wump, Creedence New Ball, and the Ruby.
Creedence Cue Ball and the Ruby?
New Ball.
Okay.
So you may say them again?
Yeah, let's do it one more time.
Muddy Rabbit, Shlomo, can you say it? Shlomo Brown Bottom, Gossamer Wump, Creedence New Ball, and the Ruby.
Or well, Shlomo Brown Bottom's got to be the one you made up, right?
That's like where did you get that? You and Paul?
Yeah, it's our go-to name for subscriptions and when people call us for hackers and stuff like that. Yeah, my name's
Right.
Brown Bottom.
He put my
Shlomo
name.
Brown Bottom. How can I help you?
Yeah, he ordered some stuff in my name, and it came to Shlomo Brown Bottom.
We were talking about Jason Wood earlier before we started this. I put that kid's name down for everything. I signed him up for the Marines countless times. Anytime like somebody asked me for like a timeshare or something like that, I'd write down all his information. And like he would just get calls all the time. Sorry,
good.
Jason.
You're good friends.
Like, I got another free stay at the Sheridan. I was reading about Creedence Clearwater Revival's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony because it was the most awkward thing that I think anybody has ever witnessed.
I did not know he pulled that shit at the end. Go ahead, tell it.
Holy crap! Yeah, it's disputed about what but the bare facts, like you can see it on is they go up to the podium to get inducted. This is like '93 or something like that, and it's the three of them. It's John Fogerty and Stu and Doug, and so Fogerty like accepts it graciously, like it's thrilled to be accepted or inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, whatever. And then he just straight up refuses to play with his bandmates. He walks over to the stage
them from the stage. Yeah.
Like he keeps them off the stage, and then he goes and plays with Bruce Springsteen and is it Robbie Robertson?
And is it the whole East Street Band? I can't remember, but his bandmates are just like, what the fuck? And he goes and plays without them. He plays all like the Creedence songs.
That was Fogerty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Was his brother still alive at that point?
No, and his brother's wife had brought Tom's urn to like be on stage, and Fogerty was like, hey, surprise, guess what? No, you guys are not gonna play tonight. That's where I was like, oh, because like I love Fogerty, but that was like he may have like serious control issues or like deep-seated grudges that he won't let go. And to me that was is a little fucked up, a little mean.
Yeah.
Like that you didn't tell them.
Yeah, you need a little bit of that, I think, to be successful. But this guy has he's got a whole truckload of that sort of bad attitude that I'm right, you're wrong, fuck off. Yeah. According to him, he told them the day before that there was no way that, the band had long broken up at that point. And there was a lot of legal issues. Like the surviving band members had sold the rights, to their share of the rights to Creedence Clearwater Revival's music to Saul Zaentz, the producer. Right. And Saul Zaentz was in long legal battles with John Fogerty. So basically what the band had done is basically cast their lot with Saul. And that's how they were planning on making their money. But of course, Fogerty saw that as the ultimate betrayal. Like, you guys sold the music that we wrote together. Well, he never said we wrote together. Like, you guys sold your share of the music I wrote.
Yeah.
To my worst enemy.
I'd want to sit down and just get his full side of the story so he could convince me to I could see myself eventually being like, yeah, fuck those guys. You're right. Like that, you got them. But it's so hard because it seems like, go ahead.
Jello Biafra.
Oh God. Here's our Dead Kennedys that we get to do.
I'm straying here. Jello Biafra, lead singer of the Dead Kennedys, right? He also owned Alternative Tentacles, which was the record company that produced all their stuff, right? And, after the Dead Kennedys broke up and stuff like that, he started siphoning off profits from all the Dead Kennedys stuff to himself. The bandmates, East Bay Ray, DL, all those guys, they sued him. And now the bandmates own Dead Kennedys. Jello Biafra is never allowed to use the Dead Kennedys name. He's never allowed to sing the songs, no nothing like that. He still owns a record company, still has to pay all those guys, right? But
right.
Yeah, you can't cut out the bandmates that were responsible for the whole thing, to a point like I guess I'm just rambling.
It's okay.
You're not rambling.
No, what Fogerty is trying to do is cut out the people that actually helped him make the music and stuff like that. You can't do that to an extent, man. you know.
Yeah, but I wonder if in his mind, like, he always felt impeded by these guys or held up by these guys. Like,
They
the early
helped him
reviews
do
are saying like, hey, they did help him do it. But I wonder if in his head he was just like, I could have been so much bigger. This band could have been so much bigger if you guys had been more talented. And now here's my chance to show you up on stage. Like, I'm leaving you. I'm going to go play with Bruce.
Yeah, he sounds like one of these people, and I don't know if you know people like this in your life, but we definitely do, that are so inflexible that it's stubbornness that, like, they will hold a grudge for the rest of their life because they are completely inflexible. At some point, he should have compromised, which he kind of did with the Mardi Gras album, but he kind of did it to prove a point, like, you guys can't do this without me controlling every piece of it, because the album was not successful.
What was the Mardi Gras album?
It was their last album, and I'm gonna butcher this, but he basically laid out this plan of, like, you write this is your song that you write. I'm not gonna play. I'm only gonna play guitar on it, nothing else. And he was basically being like, here, we're gonna make it extremely fair. And basically there was 2 songs off that album that did well, and they were the songs that Fogerty wrote.
Right.
Which was Someday Never Comes, and then another one. But he basically was like, it feels like in retrospect he did it to prove a point. Like, you guys have been barking that I'm controlling everything. Here's an album where we do it fairly. Look how bad it's gonna go down, and it did.
Yeah. Get out of the nest and fly, boys, and they all just beats down into the soil.
Yeah. Well, apparently when he brought this up to them, they were like, no, we don't want to do it this way. And he's like, no, we're gonna do it this way. And it failed.
It's a real tooth pulling kind of album.
Yeah.
Here you go, boys. I wonder how that's gonna end up for him. Like, do you think that John Fogerty is gonna be like the die alone type of guy?
I don't know. If you go on YouTube right now, he's active now, and he's got his own YouTube channel, and he's got his family, his kids, and it's really gorgeous. Like, they sit outside by a fire, and he's got this beautiful view of the mountains in the background, and they just, like, play songs, and he answers questions from listeners. He seems pretty happy. I don't know. Like, he's like, fuck you. I got my family now. We're gonna play music together. His sons are very good, and his daughter.
That's got to be the hardest thing in the world, to want to follow your dad, following your dad's footsteps when your dad is John Fogerty.
I know.
Like, you're trying to get you're 12 and 13, you're getting your first band together in the garage. You're just jamming out for the first time, playing Smoke on the Water. And dad's banging on the door. Keep it down in there. What the hell is that racket?
It appears like they don't have that option. His dad's like, no, you're going to be in my band. Just like he did. He's like, I'm John Fogerty still, and you are my kids, and you are in my band.
It's like he's living his own inside out fantasy. Like, I built your brain, son.
Yeah.
I had a shitty rhythm section my whole life. You learned to play those drums. Play them.
I was telling him, if you go on, John Fogerty has a YouTube channel, and it's like he plays all, like, CCR songs and other songs with his kids, his sons and his daughter. So we were saying that he just pretty much is doing the same thing again. Like, you're in my band.
Yeah.
I'm still John Fogerty.
You better listen to your dad.
Does he change the lyrics to Fortunate Son? Like, does he have his, like, kids sing it, but it's just like, it is me, I am a fortunate son? I think he should.
It's funny. Do you have more on Creedence? Anything else you want to talk about? What's your favorite Creedence song?
As long as I can see the light, and Someday It Never Comes.
Someday Never Comes was on Mardi Gras. That was, so you walked out, but that was like one of the only 2 hits on the Mardi Gras album, and it was because he wrote it.
Yeah, Someday It Never Comes is a great song. Yeah.
I think for me, it's either Fortunate Son or Run to the Jungle. Like, anytime I think of CCR, I think of Vietnam War movies.
Yeah.
Traveling Band's a great song too. There's yeah.
It was hard for me. I was like, I don't know how we're gonna pick. I like Lodi and Someday Never Comes.
Lodi's a great song. Yeah.
Yeesh. All right.
Well, that's the Riverboat Queen.
That's the Riverboat Queen. Let's move.
That was Heard It Through the Grapevine, guys.
Patreon members. Thank you for voting.
We'll
Okay.
refund your vote, but not your money.
Just to throw them a bone, let's say, have you ever found out somebody was cheating on you because you overheard someone gossiping about it?
No.
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 You have a funny story about catching an ex-girlfriend cheating on you, like
I
walking
did.
in on it.
Like at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning in BB's, and I walked in on them sitting in the front table, like having dinner and drinks and stuff like that at 2 in the morning. And I introduced myself to her new boyfriend. Yeah, how you doing? I'm her boyfriend. I'm just here to pick up some food. I'll see you later.
Oh, jeez.
Ooh,
She wasn't. Yeah, she had her problems. So
Yeah.
it's for
Yeah.
them.
It sounds like you were probably happy to be done with that one.
Yeah, she was putting Peruvian drug lords' kids through college.
God.
I understand. I'm surprised you weren't like picking up the check. Like, here, let me go. Like, take her out. Do something nice. I get this. Here's $100. Take.
What about you? Have you ever like found out somebody was cheating on you through some gossip?
No, I've either been very lucky or very stupid, because I don't think that's. I don't know that. I'm sure that it probably has, but I don't know that has ever happened to me. Like, I don't know, and I'd rather not know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Patreon members. That's the bone I throw you. All right. So our dressed up like a douche this week comes from Leah Mabbun. She's the wife of one of my friends, and this is one of the first ones I got when I asked for them on Facebook. But Voices Carry by Till Tuesday. Leah heard someone singing, and she didn't say who it was. Hush, hush, in the dark now, you're so scary. Do you remember how that song goes? Like, oh, hush, keep it down now. Voices carry. I just have to sing him. I had to hush. Anyway, I like Hush, Hush in the dark now. You're so scary.
No.
You're kind of scary in the dark.
I am.
Yeah. You snore loud.
Yeah.
Smell kind of bad.
I've never heard that song.
Yes, you do. It's Amy Mann, Till Tuesday. We'll play it later. Voices
Play it now. Play it now.
I wish we could, man. Look at Corbin's mohawk. He wanted to show off.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He can do that right now because it's dirty.
It's filthy.
It's filthy, so it just stands with oil.
How do that's an egg white free mohawk? That's just your own human grease?
That's just, yeah.
Look,
fantastic.
He does so many party tricks. When he's bald, when he shaves his head bald, he does that thing where he pushes the skin of his scalp into a flesh mohawk and puts clothespins on it, and then he just does something with his eyebrows and the clothespins fly. I remember you scared our friend Chris Duggins to death the first time you did that.
Yes.
You haven't done that in a long time. You should shave your head and do that again.
Yeah.
You do it to Charlie. Our kid hasn't seen it.
I don't think I'm as elastic as I used to be.
Oh, sure. You're getting older. We're getting way more elastic. I'm
I
getting.
was going to say. I'm so jealous. You're a 40-year-old man. You can threaten to shave your head and be totally confident that it's going to come back.
Actually, not really.
This is a permanent decision.
No, this is. I think this whole mohawk thing is because he knows his hair's thinning and he's getting scared. Like, I gotta do one last cool thing before it's gone.
But when it starts thinning, I'm gonna do like the whole horseshoe thing. I'm gonna purposely like go like way over the top with the horseshoe thing.
The horseshoe mohawk?
No, just like all around the sides, horseshoe it out so that I just have the side stuff and grow it long and creepy. I might even do a comb over when I don't need it. Like
I want to shave my head into a mohawk, but then have like that great big gap, like where the bald spot is, so it looks like football goalposts.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Well, you just like it's a new thing. I'm not doing a mohawk. I'm doing the spike, just like one spike.
You guys have a guilty pleasure tune?
I do. I'll go first. Mine's real lame. Mine is "You Needed Me" by Anne Murray.
Oh. Anne Murray, all day.
I thought Anne Murray just covered songs.
No.
I didn't know she actually wrote her own songs.
I cried a tear, you wiped it dry. I was
Oh.
confused. It's I don't know why. I don't even know. I don't think my mom listened to Anne Murray. Maybe she did. I don't even know how I got introduced to it. But I went through this small phase at some point in my life, and now I was just like, why am I super into
It's
Anne
Christmas.
Murray?
It's Christmas infomercial ads of like
Yeah.
Anne Murray sings everything. That's how you got into Anne Murray.
Is that it? Okay.
Mhm.
I don't remember.
Or you were watching like the World Curling Championships on in the background. They're playing Anne Murray because that's the only thing that plays at curling rinks, as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Oh, she's a Canadian treasure. Yeah.
Oh,
Is
Damn
that
right she is.
Canadian? Yeah.
Yeah. She is.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys know some Anne Murray. Your family knows.
I know a little bit of Anne Murray. We fled from Anne Murray as fast as we could, even when we were kids. It was like, my parents are from England and Ireland, so certain things like culturally.
From Anne Murray.
Oh, that's what we should name this podcast. Episode.
What
Ben?
the fuck is that woman crying about?
Ben, do you have pleasure?
I do. Yeah, it's this is a weird one, but it's the theme from Top Gun. That's my guilty pleasure song this week.
Berlin?
The Take My Breath Away? There's a theme?
No, not Take My Breath Away or Berlin, but like literally the guitar part, like the the big like Maverick throwing
You shouldn't be ashamed of that.
tags off in the ocetion.
You shouldn't.
I'm not really ashamed.
That's pretty awesome.
Am I gonna be able to
I'm
add
ashamed
this
of
to
the
our
reasons why
Spotify?
I do it. Oh, it's there, yeah. I worked in a bar that had the Top Gun soundtrack on the jukebox. So at the end of the night, I would feed it dollars and I would time it so that the Top Gun theme was the last song before I threw everybody out. And I literally did that because I felt like I was standing on the deck of an aircraft carrier after a vicious dogfight. Like I was that heroic. I survived Thursday night.
That's awesome.
Somebody bring me my white dress uniform. I'm a hero.
And then you play Take My Breath Away.
And then I would play Take My Breath. Once everybody was gone, I'd play Take My Breath Away.
God, now I'm like, what was the theme to Cocktail? What was the big song in Cocktail?
Kokomo.
Kokomo, that's right.
Yeah.
Terrible song.
Oh, that should be one of my guilty pleasures. I know that whole song.
Terrible song.
Jamaica. Oh, dang it. I wish I hadn't said my guilty pleasure yet. I would have just stole that. What about you, Corbin? What's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure song is from a movie called Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
Uh-huh.
A fantastic movie.
Do you know
Easily
it?
in one of my top 5 movies of all time.
It's a great, we bonded
Fucking love
over
it.
this movie. I think that's why we're married, because we love this movie and we sing the entire soundtrack together.
It's a movie about a guy that got a sex change operation and escaped East Berlin a week before the wall came down.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He didn't know the wall was coming down, and he had a sex change operation. They screwed it up. It was like a back alley type thing. And
He was left with a nub.
yeah.
He calls his Angry Inch.
And so he moved to America and lived on army bases, and he has a song called Sugar Daddy. It's fantastic.
The best.
Yeah.
So it's so like drag queeny and stuff like that, but like I'll jam it.
Sugar
Yeah.
Daddy.
I will jam it. I will sing it. And I'll roll down my windows. I'll yell it at people. In
the movie, it's such a great scene. Like he's performing the song in what looks like a Denny's, and he's wearing this dress that has those tassels between the legs, and he puts his like leg up on this old man and is like pushing like his crotch and the tassels in the man's face, and he's like, "It's a car wash, ladies and gentlemen."
It's over the top, but Hedwig and the Angry Inch, great soundtrack, great music, man. It's like kind of punk, kind of like drag music. It's great, man.
Sugar Daddy, bring it home.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da.
And the guy that does it, the guy that wrote all the music, he's brilliant. Yeah. So not really guilty pleasure. It's brilliant music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should be guilty for liking it. As far as like most dudes would be concerned, but there's really nothing guilty about.
No, I
Hedwig.
jam all that shit at work, man. I don't give a shit. I can jam whatever I want.
You can get out.
Yeah.
This is my place.
Listening to transsexual love songs, disposing of nuclear waste. It's all in a day.
Well, that's awesome. Are we ready to wrap this up and talk about? Usually we have a guest on. We're like, where can we see more of you or hear more from you? But Corban's like, please don't look me up.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't exist beyond this ether and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm a dead person.
He's a private person.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing the show with us, Corban. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you.
It's great to talk to you, Ben.
See, I told you there's nothing to be nervous about. It's just
No.
conversation.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, he's
All right,
leaving.
I'm out.
Okay, bye. I love you. I'll be in bed in a second.
Okay.
I love you too. I won't be in bed in a second.
Well, let me do our business. Next episode. So we were out last week, took a little bit of vacation. So we're going to give you 2 episodes this week. We're going to record another episode this week. And on the next one, we welcome comedian, journalist, musician Jeremy Essig to the show to cover I Will Dare by The Replacements. Jeremy is from St. Louis and has had over like 20 appearances on the Bob and Tom show. Is that true, Jeremy? Like, he's listening to this. I'm like, I saw that on your website. I'm always excited to have someone on the show like this, like kind of like Henry, like a comedian that also does music, but where like Henry did them both together, Jeremy does them separate. He is in a band and is a musician, but he's also a stand-up comic. He doesn't meld the two. And like, we are always talking about, you know, the difference between comedy and music. And I'm just kind of jealous that he gets to do both. So I'm excited to talk to him. Just, you know, I'm excited to talk about the song, but I'm excited to talk about like, what is that like? Because I feel like he's living the dream that a lot of us have.
Yeah, how can you advance 2 sides of your brain that far that way?
Yeah, a little
That's gonna
bit.
be a fun one. Yep, a lot jealous. I'm a lot jealous.
All right, special thank you to Chuck. Oh, sorry, what were we gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, all right. Special thank you to Chuck Savage and Eddie Hawkins for our amazing intro music, and to Sara Wessling for the Guilty Pleasures vocals. If you would like to support the podcast, I've said it many times, we have a Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/rockthecashbar if you want to throw us some scratch, like $5 a month. But honestly, the biggest way you can support the podcast is just share it. Hit that little share button if you're listening on Apple. Leave a review. That would be great. Just, you know, spread the word. Help us spread the word. And you can listen to our Spotify playlist where we put all of the songs we cover plus the guilty pleasure songs, which is going to be way more guilty pleasure songs than actual songs we cover, which makes it a really fun Spotify playlist. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you guys next Thursday.
Thank you very much. Vogue.